Hello everyone, welcome to Nirnay IAS English channel. This is Venkatesh, your faculty for geography, and in this session I am starting with a new series from this session onwards where we discuss about the major topics as per the books you study. For example, this is the topic which we call it as the chapter for it as Earth and the Universe, where we'll give you a fundamental understanding of some of the basics of geography, right? So that is what we'll be doing it. We'll be having these sessions regularly from now onwards in this channel. So I would suggest that you can follow these channels and understand about how to prepare for UPSC civil services, right? So with this, let's start about today's session about Earth and the universe, right? The first thing which we tend to see about the Earth and the universe is about the latitudes and longitudes, right? Latitudes and longitudes. Imagine, my dear UPSC aspirants, why this is a fundamental thing in geography. Think why these are important points. Imagine a world where we don't have these latitudes and longitudes. What would happen? How would you say that where are you located to your friend or some other person? Would you say that you are nearer to that big tree, or for that matter very close to that big building? How would you say that, right? So how would you say that you are located somewhere in Asia? For those things to give you an accurate pinpoint location, we use this latitudes and longitudes as a grid system where we can use the horizontal lines as latitudes and vertical things as longitudes. That is the essence of latitudes and longitudes which we study as part of our geography. I hope I am clear on this. Are you able to listen to me, all of you? Can you are you able to get my voice right? Let me check once. Are you able to listen to me, all of you? Okay, that's good. That's good. Right. Then let us understand about these latitudes and longitudes further then. What are latitudes? What are latitudes? What are they? Can any one of you tell me this? Can any one of you tell me this? What are latitudes? Let me wait for a minute, guys. I'll wait for a minute. You can answer. Right. Okay. Then, can anyone tell me what are latitudes then? No? Hello, Vaishnavi. Hello, Vaishnavi. This is from 𝐺𝐐 𝐂𝐿. This is from 𝐺𝐐 𝐂𝐿, Vaishnavi. Okay. Yes. Hello, Munir. Latitudes are horizontal imaginary lines that are parallel to the equator. You are right. You are right. So you can see what are latitudes? Simply I can say latitudes are definitely just like the longitudes as well. These are what we'll call it as imaginary lines. They are not visible. You can go to a certain point, equator, 0 degree latitude, you don't find an actual line. These lines, which are very crucial for us, are imaginary in nature, which are helping us, right? So imaginary lines, I would say these are horizontal lines parallel to the equator, and I'll give you a wonderful definition about latitudes. Please wait. If you see this, the latitudes, imagine you have a sphere, okay? You can take this as a sphere. Now, this is the North Pole, right? This is the South Pole, okay? Now, this is the equator. Now, what do you mean by latitude? You know what? Technically, there is a word as well. There is a definition we can give it. It is what we can call it as angular distance from a point on the Earth's surface to the center which we measure. For example, you take this point, okay? From here, you prepare an angle to the center of the Earth, somewhere in between the three-dimensional one. What is the angle you are creating? That is latitude. For example, in a simple words, this could be 0 degree equator, 10 degree. Now, this is the point on the Earth's surface. Now, the angle is 10, 20, 30, like that 40, 50, 60, 70, 90, right? So, this is the center of the Earth. This is the point here, equator, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That is what we can call it as latitude. So, what is this? Angular distance of a point on Earth's surface, right, which are horizontal in nature. That is what you can call it as latitude. Have you understood, all of you? Vaishnavi, Munir, have you got my point? Have you got my point, Vaishnavi and Munir? Right. Now let's go to the next point then. Remember one thing, these are parallel, these are horizontal. Once you have understood the parallel horizontal lines, so you can simply remember it as latitudes are nothing but imaginary lines drawn parallel to the equator. That's it. Okay, that is sufficient. Maybe to get a conceptual understanding, I gave you the actual definition. In reality, you don't need that. Then comes the remaining things. Important latitudes. What are all the important latitudes? We know 0 degree equator, 23.5 degrees north, which we call it as Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees south, which is Tropic of Capricorn, and then in the north we have Arctic Circle at 66.5 degrees north, Antarctic Circle at 66.5 degrees south, 90 degrees north, 90 degree south. These are all the important latitudes which we have. Right, all of you? Did you get my point? Now, one important thing here. Why these are important latitudes? What is the reason for calling it as 23.5 degrees as important latitudes, 66.5? What is that reason? Why not a very simple layman's understanding, 0, 30, 60, 90? Right? Why these are important latitudes? Can anyone of you tell me this? See, that is what, whenever you are preparing, you have to prepare from the perspective of, what do you say? You have to prepare from this perspective, that asking questions, getting answers. As you are getting the questions, as you are asking questions, getting the answers and all, the subject becomes very much interesting. Try to answer this question which I have told you. Why these are important latitudes? It is because of the tilt of the axis. The Earth's axis is tilted by 23.5 degrees. The globe is not in this way. If you see a globe, this is the North Pole, South Pole, it is tilted like this. The tilt of 23.5 degrees makes these points very, very important in our understanding, right? That is the reason why these are important latitudes. I'll explain this. For example, if you see this, where is this point? Yeah. These are important latitudes and all. It is because of this phenomenon. Let's see this. Imagine this is our one sphere of the earth. This is the equator which we have. This is the Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle. Now here, if you see it here, the reason why these two are important latitudes tropical, it is because from the sun, in a calendar, in a year, as the earth completes one revolution around the sun, these are the only points where you will find direct rays of the sun or the vertical rays of the sun. For example, 23.5 degree north is the northernmost point where at least once in a year they would see vertical rays of the sun. That is on June 21st, which is called as the longest day of the northern hemisphere, right? Then similarly, 23.5 degrees south is the southernmost point where we will see vertical rays. So if you cross these latitudes, technically you would never see the vertical rays of the sun like this. The sun's vertical rays you will not find. You will find the maximum, say here in the middle latitudes. Maybe this is their maximum. The sun would never be overhead. The sun would never be overhead, above the head, right? It is not here, it will be slightly here. So that is the thing. And at the poles, you will never find that thing. It is always slant. So the way sun rises and then moves exactly vertical, and then the descendants, sunset, you will not find this vertical point at least once in a year if you cross these latitudes. That is the reason why these latitudes are important, and that is the significance of latitude. What is that? This is what we call it as hot या torrid zone. Right? Got my point? Got my point, all of you? Right. Then as you move across, as you move into the higher latitudes now, this is what we'll call it as temperate zone, somewhat as a transitionary zone. Then as you move forward into the higher latitude, this is what we call it as cold या frigid zone, because here they would receive the slant rays. Slant या indirect, direct या vertical here. This is the slant rays or indirect rays. Because these rays has to travel for longer distances in the atmosphere, you will not find much amount of energy transfer. That is why these are energy deficit, cooler regions. These are energy surplus, having significantly hot climates. So that is the thing. So in other words, whenever we talk about climate, the first thing we talk about what? Latitude. Why latitude? Because latitude would determine the climatic zones. So, for example, hot, warm, cool, cold. As you move from the equator, you will find this transition. Around the equator and around the tropical region, hot. Slowly as you cross these tropical regions beyond India, then we are entering into the warm regions, say Mediterranean climate. Then the British cool climate. Then the Norway, Sweden, Russia, taiga and all those climates, which you can call it as cold climates, right? Extremely severe weather, cold. The Arctic region, polar region, extremely severe. There is a difference between cool and cold, right? You know, when we say about even in our general usage of language in geography, how do you use that? You always tend to say that language if you say that one of your friend is very cool, you would say cool guy. Why? Maybe he is very, very pleasant, good to know, such a nice guy. That's what we use the word cool guy. We never use the word cold, no. We say cold-blooded murder, right? Cold-blooded murder. The usage of the word cool and cold. Cool is something which is bearable to the human's body. So our body is extremely adjusted to that weather. It is very pleasant to it. Cold is uncomfortable to us, right? So even in geography, we can remember the same thing. What was written after hot in the diagram? Hot, warm, cool, cold. Hot, warm, cool, cold. The Mediterranean region, temperatures would not be that hot. It would be warmer. Say until 30, you can say hot. Beyond 30-degree latitude, 45, warm. After 45, cool. And more into the polar, cold. Got it? Who is this? Raghavendra? Got it, Raghavendra? Right. So simply remember, latitudes, what is the important? The latitudes importance are nothing but they are important for climatic zones. Hot at the equator. Hot yet torrid. 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 Torrid zone. Hot या torrid zone. Torrid also something very similar, which is considered as very hot, uncomfortable, unbearable, we can call so it. Okay, good. Then we'll go to the next thing. See, remember one thing, geography, when you study for UPSC, you'll always find concepts. Now you got the concepts. What is the significance of latitude? You know the reason, climatic zones. Along with concepts, geography is known for mapping as well. So the task for you, very simple. Identify all the countries which are located on equator. Identify the countries which are located on Tropic of Cancer. Countries located on Tropic of Capricorn. So simple task for you guys. As you discuss this, maybe after the class or for that matter now, maybe after the class is ideal. You identify all the countries which are located around the equator. Okay? Countries located around the equator. Similarly, Tropic of Cancer. Similarly, Tropic of Capricorn. Similarly, Arctic Circle. Just like how I have identified all the countries at the equator, you also identify. Okay. You also identify where the countries are located. You identify, put it in the comment section. I would evaluate personally and I will give the answers to you if you are wrong. So please do that, so that once you do this task, you will get an overall idea of, oh, this is a tropical area, this is the temperate area, this is the polar area. You will get wonderful understanding about such things. That is very, very important. This task, it looks like something as a homework for you, but this is the fundamental thing for geography, as you need to understand the further concepts which we're gonna discuss. Right? All of you got my point? Right? So can you do that? Good. Good. Please do that. That will help you. So countries lying on equator, countries lying on Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn. Acha, do one thing. Draw the world map. Maybe you shared that. Share this and try to do that. You will get to know so much amount of things. Then moving forward, longitudes. What are longitudes? What are longitudes? Simply you can remember as imaginary vertical lines on the Earth's surface drawn perpendicular and drawn perpendicular through North Pole and South Pole. Through North and South Pole. Remember one thing, guys. Longitudes are not like such a thing where they are not parallel. It looks like at this here they are looking like parallel, but actually as you move close to the Earth here, they are close to the North Pole, all the longitudes meet like this. You see here, they meet. They meet. So remember, they're drawn, the keywords here which you all need to remember is what? They're drawn perpendicular, they're drawn from North Pole to South Pole. These are the two key things which you need to remember about longitudes. Perpendicular and drawn from North Pole to South Pole. By the way, one interesting thing, longitudes are called as meridians. You know why? You know why do longitudes are called as meridians? Meridian means midday. All the points on the longitudinal line will be having their midday almost at the same time. For example, middle 12 o'clock, what is the vertical rays of the sun they see? The maximum vertical they see would be at the same time for all the points on a similar longitude. That's why they are called as meridians. Midday. Meridian means midday. As simple as that. Right? So that is why longitudes are called as meridians. Please remember this point. What is longitude? They are called as also meridians. Then, if you have observed, for latitudes, we had a baseline, equator, 0-degree line. We don't have a baseline for longitude. For so many years, we don't have a baseline. Later on, 0-degree longitude, which we consider as prime meridian, is actually taken as a baseline. It was taken as a baseline by some of the efforts. So in 1880s, the National Geographical people and all, therefore the committee there has observed the things, and they have decided that the line which passes through Greenwich in London, right, which passes through Greenwich in London was regarded as 0-degree longitude. Right? Right. That is what we can call it as. Then this 0-degree longitude, which will passes through Greenwich in London, is what we call it as prime meridian, right? And this was regarded as the base. Now this one, Greenwich in London, and then into Europe, then into Africa, this is what we call it as Greenwich, prime meridian. Similar task for you guys. Maybe not that significant in terms of understanding the countries lying on the Greenwich. Maybe you do that. It is not bad. Right. Then moving further, what is the significance of longitudes? My dear, longitudes signify time zones. They signify time zones. Imagine you are moving from Hyderabad to Dubai, India to Dubai. We have our time. Our clock is set at a certain time, right? The moment you are landing in Dubai, you need to adjust your clock. Why? Simple. You are now in Dubai. Dubai's longitudes are different. The world will not be having similar times of the sunrise and sunset. No, we all know this basic idea. The sun sets at certain time, sun rises at certain time, and it is different across the world. Japan, sun rises first, then for us, then to the Europe, then to the Americas, right? So we all know that. I think we all have friends across the world, cousins, family members across the world. Some of the family members, they are in Europe, they are in America. How do you discuss them? How do you talk with them? Canada and all. When it is night to them, it is day to us, right? So that is the what? Latitude, that is that understanding, you will get to know time zones. One concept I will try to tell you. A country has more longitudinal extent. A country has more longitudinal extent. If a country has more longitudinal extent, that will have more time zones. You take Australia, longitudinal extent is huge. Number of time zones are higher. You take Brazil, you take Russia, Canada. Because the longitudinal extent is high, you tend to have more time zones, right? Yes, this is the thing. Country having more longitudinal extent, more time zones. Then some suggestions to you. It is not necessary that the country having more time, more longitudinal extent will be having more time zones, though that is true. What do you mean by that is, we have a country by name, you see here, Russia, such a vast country. Australia, such a vast country. You see India, not that bigger. You see Brazil, quite bigger. You see Canada, quite bigger. So you definitely have more vastness, more time zones. There is no doubt about this concept. But technically, because of colonial history and all, France has more time zones. France has more time zones. Why? Simple, colonial history. They have their overseas territories here, French Guiana, some islands across the world. So because of that, France tends to have more time zones. Then you tell me, guys, how many you tell me in the comment section, how many time zones do France have? How many time zones do France have? You tell me in the comment section, I would answer it, the right answer I would tell you there. Right? Okay. Yes, Ratika. And all of you guys, you want the notes of this thing, you will get in my Telegram channel, right? You will get into my Telegram channel. You can get this thing from the Telegram channel. You can get my notes. You can download this, right? Okay. Then people who are not part of my Telegram channel, you can get into this. You will be getting the information about the further classes and all. And based on this, if you are actually interested to take the complete course which is needed, comprehensive course, prelims, mains, interview, everything, all the subjects put together, you can, the link is given in the description. You can check the link. You can subscribe to the course. You can use my code Venkatesh, where you will get maximum discount as well, right? You can use that, and that way it will be helpful. And if you have any further doubts, you can ping me in the comment box. My team would be connecting with you, and they would be giving you all the necessary information which is needed for you on this course, right? Okay, all of you got my point? Then Munir, how many time zones does France have? Is it 12? Is it 11? Is it 14? Eleven, 12, 14. Good. It is having 12 time zones. Very good. Good. Then there is another concept. Based on the longitudinal extent only, we have our Indian Standard Time, which is calculated based on 82.5 degree longitude, east longitude. So we have our longitudinal extent, which extends from 97 degree 25 minutes, 68 degree 7 minutes. This is the longitudinal extent. Based on the longitudinal extent, the in-between line 82.5 degrees is the base for our standard time, right? Yes, Munir, it is 12, correct. It is correct only, 12. Okay. Yes, let me put that point here. 12 is correct. Right. Then, actually, one thing. Exactly as you identify the 0 degree longitude east and west, you'll get to know that 180 degree east or west longitude is what we call it as international date line. Imagine a wonderful scenario where you wanted to celebrate your birthday for maximum time. What to do? Beyond 24 hours. Simple idea. Go to these easternmost areas, maybe Siberia, or for that matter, New Zealand, or some of the islands here. Celebrate your birthday until the 11 p.m. Enjoy your cake cutting, dinner and all. At 11 p.m., you take a flight from New Zealand, or for this matters here, and cross this line and enter into Australia, into America, say California, San Francisco. Now, as you are crossing this line and enter into San Francisco, what will happen? Very simple. You are crossing the longitudinal line. As you are crossing this 180 degree east, what will happen is, by the time you land in California, it will be the same day afternoon 2 p.m. So what happened? You boarded your flight at 11 p.m. in the 11 p.m. here, and you have entered into California same day afternoon 2 p.m. So you have around another almost 10-12 hours which you can celebrate your birthday, right? So what is happening here? Because these areas receive sunlight first, and then here, and then here, and then here, you will find that they are behind always. So in other words, what is happening? As you are crossing the line from east to, as you are crossing from here, from Japan to America, across the Pacific Ocean, you are actually gaining a time. You are gaining a day, right? You are gaining extra day. Whereas you all have your friends who are introverts. The moment you say that you have a birthday and all, some of the introverts don't want it to celebrate, no? For them, it is also a perfect idea. What? They have to go to California exactly on the day of, just exactly 1 hour before your birthday and all. You can board a flight and you can get to America, from America into New Zealand and all. By the time you reach New Zealand, your birthday is gone. So you lose a day, right? Your birthday is gone. So here, as you are moving, you are gaining a day. Japan to America, Australia to America, New Zealand to America, gain a day, that is additional, and you are coming opposite, you lose. That is what international date line. The date of the day calendar will change as you cross this line. That is what is one international date line. Isn't it funny, all of you? Isn't it? Yes or no? Isn't it funny, all of you? Yes or no? Right, good. That's what you can remember. more time zones, more time zones. India, plus 5.5 hours, right? Plus 5.5 hours. Then this is about the latitudes and the longitudes. Then we'll discuss about something about the Earth and the universe. The next aspect of the session, Earth and the universe. Ultimately, we all see that the Earth, what is geography? Study of Earth. We study about the Earth. If you are studying about the Earth, is it not for us ideal to understand how do you think that Earth was originated? Understanding about the origin, the history of the Earth, which will give you an idea about so many things about the Earth. That is what we tend to study. The geographers, astronomers, all these people, the Greeks, the Romans, Indians, and all these people in their ancient past, they all have started studying these aspects of the world. When these are studied as part of the aspects of the world, the Earth and the universe, the fundamental thing they came to understand, the fundamental thing they wanted to know is, how do you think the Earth was originated? There were various theories. You have certain theories which are studied from origin of the Earth only. Some have understood that it is not the origin of the Earth which we need to understand, because Earth is a component, a smaller component of the broader universe. We need to understand origin of the Earth, not as point of the origin of the Earth, but origin of universe. Right? That is what the idea was. So, in the initial thing, the Earth was believed to be formed around 4.7 billion years ago, 4.5 to be around 4.5, whereas the universe was formed long back 13 billion years ago, right? And there were different theories. Remember, heliocentric, Copernicus, and all these things are there. There are multiple theories are there. But more than that, the theories which are needed, the most theory which was accepted was the Big Bang theory. So this is what we call it as expanding universe hypothesis. There was a big cloud of gas and all. There was a big matter. The big matter which is exploded in that big matter, the small matter which is there, all the matter which is actually that matter is considered as very, very small, unimaginably small volume, but it has infinite density and it has infinite temperature. All these things, it has made the tiny ball to be exploded. At the Big Bang, the tiny ball exploded very, very violently. That explosion is what we call it as the Big Bang. And from that Big Bang, slowly that universe got expanded. Imagine like something like a balloon, and you pump air into it. Just like how is the balloon expanding, universe is also expanding, and also points from the universe, that is the solar system and all, there also are expanding. That is what the Big Bang theory has suggested it, right? And this Big Bang explosion happened around 13.7 billion years ago. This is what you need to understand about the universe. And from there, whatever the cloud of gases, dust and all there within our sphere of the Earth, that is what we are calling it as the Earth along with its planets, the present solar system which we had, all the solar system and all have been categorized as a cloud of dust, gases and all. That is what is the Earth. Of course, we have certain things like nebular theory, right? We have certain things like Laplace theory, things like okay, they also have studied about the center of the solar system. Is the Earth center, is the sun center? We all have certain things. Then we started moving forward. Then we came to know the various ideas. Remember the universe? Universe has multiple galaxies. Within the galaxies, you have so many solar systems. right? Solar system, for example, our Earth is part of the Milky Way galaxy, our solar system, Milky Way galaxy. From the Milky Way galaxy, we have our solar system. That is what we need to know. Milky Way. Milky Way galaxy to the solar system and then to the remaining things. Right. With this, okay, our solar system, the star which we had, which we call it as the sun, all the 8 planets which we have, their moons, all the other objects together is what we are calling it as the solar system. And all these planets are revolving around the sun in an elliptical orbit. The sun is the nearest star to the earth. That is what is the thing, nearest star to the earth. That is why it is called as our solar system. And that is the thing. All are moving around the sun. Then we all need to have some basic idea. As I told you, the sun is comprising about, the solar system is comprising about the sun, 8 planets and the satellites. And we have some other debris, be it the asteroids, meteoroids, comets and all, right? Asteroids, meteoroids and comets. Let us understand about each things. We have our sun, which is almost 110 times bigger than the earth, right? That is our sun, our star. You have about the temperature of the sun at the core is about around 15 million degrees Celsius, huge temperature, right? The sunlight takes 8 minutes, 16 seconds to reach the earth. Some of the facts to you to remember. And the distance, the average distance is around 149, 150 million kilometers. This is the average. This is not the exact because it keeps on changing, because the orbit of the earth is not a circular one, it is elliptical, so the diameter changes, right? And we all know nuclear fusion and all, which is there in the energy of the sun, which are components of hydrogen atoms fusing into helium atoms, right? Then let us talk about something about the planets. Remember one thing, as part of our understanding, we have divided the planets into inner planets. This is what we will call it as the inner planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Jupiter. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. These are what we call it as inner or terrestrial planets. And Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, these are what we will call it as Jovian planets, gas-like, gas giants. So inner terrestrial, they are Earth-like. So they are solid portions. And the other ones which are not solid portions, those are what we call it as the terrestrial. Those are Jovian or the gaseous one. Right? Then moving forward, Mercury. Some aspects. Now you need not remember about all these things, Mercury and all these things. Some of the aspects you just remember. Remaining you can ignore. The nearest planet to the sun is obviously that is the Mercury. Right? Remember, they don't have an atmosphere. There is no atmosphere. They don't have any satellite. Right? And it is the smallest planet of our solar system. Smallest planet. Nearest planet, no atmosphere, no satellite. Remember, though it is nearest to the sun, it is not the hottest planet. See the anomaly? There it is the nearest, but not the hottest. Venus is the brightest of all the planets because it reflects most of the sun's light, and that's why it is very similar to the Earth, and that's why in terms of volume, weight and density, it is very, very similar. We call it as the sister of the Earth's twin, Venus. And it has, because it is very close to the Earth and all, it is called as morning star and evening star. And one thing, this is the hottest planet. You just need to understand this is the hottest planet. Reason is simple, greenhouse gases. Our atmosphere has only 0.03% of the carbon dioxide, whereas Venus has 96% of carbon dioxide. Greenhouse gas is much more higher. That is what the things are. So this is what you need to remember. Earth, nothing to explain. We know all the basic things. It is the third planet from the sun. It is the fifth largest planet. It is 149.6 million kilometer distant. That's what I told you. 149, 150 is the average which we take it as. Then rotation, revolution. The Earth's rotation is around, it takes around 23 hours, 56 minutes. That is 1 day. Rotation is movement of the Earth on its own axis. Rotation. Revolution around the sun is what is the thing? Moving around the sun. Movement among the Earth on its own axis is rotation. Movement of the Earth around the sun is revolution, which is elliptical in nature. And we all know this is the planet where life exists. Why does it exist? Because of favorable atmosphere and all. And what is the moon we had? That is the satellite. And these are the basic ideas of things. And we all know what is the impact of the rotation of the Earth. The rotation of the Earth causes days and nights. Seasons are formed because of revolution, right? Those are some of the basic things. So that is about the Earth. Are you following me, all of you? Are you following me? Let me see some of the comments. Just a minute, guys. Okay, Munir, is the solar system revolves around galaxies? What is your question, right? Yes, absolutely. It is revolving around the center of our galaxy. The galaxies, right? Exactly, right here. Good. You have a good eye for astronomy, huh? Good here. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Right. Let us go to the next thing then. Mars. Mars, because of the presence of iron oxide, it appears red. That's why we call it as red planet. And it is the only planet of the Earth where there is a sign of water. That is the reason why there is a possibility of life, and that is why there are so many kinds of space missions. That's what you can remember. Be it the Indian space mission, right? Be it around other things, Vikings, Pathfinder, Since the Path, Curiosity of NASA's and all, India's Mars missions, right? All these things are reason why, because that is where we have observed the possibility of life. And even now, I remember Abdul Kalam's words here. Abdul Kalam, in one of his book, he said that there is a future possibility that where the Earth as a planet, the Moon, the Mars will be having a memorandum of understanding in terms of utilization of the resources. Just like how we are exploiting the sun, exploiting the deep sea bed, exploiting the resources on the land, there would be a possibility that we might explore all the three things. We might explore the resources on the Moon, on the Mars and all, and there could be a possible memorandum of understanding. So that is how we might move in the future. Then moving forward, Jupiter. It is the largest planet Its diameter is 11 times. It is the fastest rotating planet. It revolves around the sun in 11 years, 10 months. Surface is not solid. Made of hydrogen, helium, ammonia, methane. Right? That is the thing. That is about the Jupiter. And Saturn, remember, it is the one which has more satellites. More satellites, Saturn. Always if you have a confusion, refer NASA. According to NASA, satellite has more moons than Jupiter. Right. Then moving forward, Uranus and all are the other planets. These are all Jovian planets. Simply remember, Jovian planets from Jupiter, which are, simply we can remember it as gas giants. That's it then. Uranus, Neptune are the same. Then some other things here. We all have some other objects which are there, debris in the solar system, which can be differentiated into meteoroid, asteroid, comets. So in our outer space, the rocky portions which are there in the outer space, the rocky portions which are there, they are called as meteoroid and asteroid. Rocky bodies, rocky. These are portions of the fragments. Usually asteroids are bigger. They are orbiting around the sun between the Mars and the Jupiter. So asteroids are rocky bodies orbiting around the sun. Between Mars and Jupiter, they have an orbit. That is asteroid. What is the difference between asteroid and meteoroid? Rocky bodies which are not necessarily moving around or orbiting around the sun can be located anywhere. Usually they are smaller. One or two can be bigger. But the primary thing is these are revolving around the sun. These are there in the inner planets, rocky fragments. There is a possibility that some of the meteoroid can hit our planet. Possibility is there. And it is happening. And these rocky planets these rocky things could be smaller also. Some are smaller, some are bigger and all. And the Earth has seen significant amount of meteorite impact and all. So these meteoroids, the rockies, they will come very close to the planet Earth. Once they come close to the planet Earth, they enter into the Earth's atmosphere. That is why we call it as meteor. And that's where they are also call it as shooting star. They heats up in the atmosphere. That is what is a shooting star. And once they are heating up and they are burning, a portion of it can be hitting the Earth's surface, which we call it as meteorite. Simple. Rocky body in outer space, smaller ones is meteoroid. In the atmosphere of the Earth, we call it as meteor. If they hit the surface of the Earth, reaches the ground, we call it as meteorite. Right? Generally, asteroids are much more different than meteoroids because these are orbiting around the sun, usually between Mars and Jupiter. These are the basic ideas. Are you following me, all of you? Got my point about the difference? Yes or no? Got my point? Then the next one, comet. It is an icy body that releases gas as it orbits the sun. Icy body that releases gas as it orbits the sun. That is what we will call it as comet. Okay. The difference between asteroid, meteoroid and comet is icy body. Because of the icy body, they'll always have a tail, right? Tail of gases which can be seen. That is what we will call it as comet. This is the thing about all the things about the meteoroids, asteroids, comets and all these things, right? That is about the thing, my dear. That is about the first chapter, some of the basics, Earth and the universe, as per the 𝐔𝐿 book, we can say so, or in general itself, I can consider. So this is how we need to understand the basics. Then you need to prepare, right? So these are the ideas. You want this complete course and all, please, the link will be given in the description, or you can contact me. You can get the complete course details and you can use my code Venkatesh for getting the maximum discount, where you can have a comprehensive course about all the subjects, which can make your preparation much faster, much directionable, and much more easier for you to reach your goals. That is the thing. With this, I would suggest that we'll end the session for now. People who want the PDF of the class notes, whatever we have discussed, you can get into my Telegram channel. The link would be, the PDF would be shared there. You want, you can go and check that, right? Any doubts, you can always ask me. That's it for today then. We'll see you again, by the way, on next Friday. So every Wednesday and Friday, I'll be having some sessions live on YouTube to help you in terms of your UPSC preparation process. With this, I will end this now. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your preparation process and see you again on Friday. Thank you.